Battle of the Sexes with Billie Jean King and Bobby Riggs was, such a big moment for sport, back in the 70s. Do you think you and Sabrina could have a similar impact here tonight?
You'd hope that this stage and it being a first of its kind in basketball, kind of a competition, the roadmap that Sabrina has ahead of her as an ambassador for the game of basketball, not just women's basketball, but how she handles herself, and just the conversation around promoting, the WNBA, the NBA, merging our two worlds. I think it's going to be fun. I don't know what's going to come out of it, but I think me and Sabrina talked about it, like how cool of an opportunity it is to do something that's never been done before in our game, and for her to, have a presence on this stage is going to do a lot to inspire the next generation of young boys and girls that want to compete and see themselves in either one of us. And wherever it goes from there, like we know, we'll kind of plant our flag as doing something really special.
Tim, standing on the right.
Steph, there's been a lot of talk in recent years about you and KD and LeBron having such extended staying power as the faces of the league in a lot of ways. Do you have any thoughts as you look at the next generation of young guys who might eventually take your guys' place in a decade or so when you guys are done playing?
There's a lot of guys to pick from in this group of 24 that are here. You see Luka, Ant, Shea, guys that are like really coming into their prime and highly decorated already as all-stars and all-NBA guys, but have a perspective, I guess, of what that means within the on-court, off-court opportunities and the doors that basketball opens in that respect. So you got a lot of talent to choose from in that respect. I think the more you kind of understand the authenticity around it, and like me and Bron and KD, like guys whose name have done it and tried to do that in our way, where they might look different for different guys, but the league is in pretty good hands when it comes to young talent that I think gets it and understands the magnitude of the platform that we all have, and will respect it as they come into their own.
Over here in this last corner.
Anthony Ty with Let's Go Warriors. Steph, your brother Seth is now wearing your father's number, playing for your father's team with your father announcing the game. And also you posted an Instagram story with the proverbial, I'm not crying, you're crying. Can you share a little bit about what's kind of your first thoughts when you first learned of the news? And also maybe share a little bit about what's kind of behind the scenes among the Curry family, and if there was any banter or if anyone actually cried. Thank you.
It was definitely a surprise one, because I didn't know if Seth was on a trading block or whatnot up until probably 2 days before. But the fact that he had his homecoming going back to Charlotte, the first game that they played, they wore their retro, the old school pinstripe Hornet jerseys, which my pops wore. And like you said, number 30. It was funny. My dad said on the broadcast, I don't think anybody asked Seth or my dad what number he was going to wear. They just did it knowing that it was a pretty easy decision there. So it's cool to see the Curry 30 alive back in Charlotte. And still got a lot of family there. My dad obviously doing the color commentating for games. So it's a family affair for sure. And we haven't played them yet, so it'd be cool. We got 2 games against them coming up the second half of the year, so I'm excited about those 2 nights.
Tim, back right.
Steph, Tim Reynolds with the AP. 2 things quick. The first one, Sabrina said that someone was booing her during her workout yesterday. Can you confirm who that may have been?
I can confirm it's the guy you're looking at right now. He's trying to apply some pressure for sure.
Adam Silver, Joe Dumars, they've made it very clear that they'd like to see a more competitive game tomorrow. What is the line? It's not Game 7, obviously. How can you make it more competitive but still fun and make sure nobody gets in harm's way or anything like that? How do you navigate all that, or how should it be navigated?
What was the first year that we did the player draft? I don't think I was. First year I was a captain up until I think it was a game in Chicago. It was the Elam ending. That was like kind of your peak competitive nature that kept everybody on the edge of their seat to the end. I think the guys had a different energy about them, and there was definitely a spirit of competitiveness throughout the whole game. And then it kind of got a little quirky with all the draft stuff that was happening, and we talked about it a little bit in some of our meetings. It's kind of hard when you're here in the building. It's very prima donna of us, but you're here for 4 or 5 hours leading up to the game. It's so different than our normal game day kind of experience, like the way that we prepare our bodies and stuff. So it's hard to kind of get to, a normal level. But I think there's a balance, and we've talked about it a little bit. It's just, kind of just coming with the right energy, where everybody knows kind of the speed of the game, physicality of the game, and you can kind of, make those adjustments, whether you're starting, whether you're coming off the bench, playing a little bit of defense, and kind of taking it from there wherever the game goes. So I think getting rid of the pre-draft thing where everybody was just standing around for however long will help. The East-West stuff where there's a little bit more familiarity with, your teammates will help. Don't want to, like you said, it's not going to be a Game 7. It's not going to be a playoff type vibe, but it should be somewhere in between.
Next question in the center.
Robert O'Connell, Wall Street Journal. Steph, your coach has talked about how hard it is to guard these days with the immense talent we're seeing from players and also some of the rules around defense. I wanted to get your perspective on that. Do you see, when you look around the league and 60-point games becoming fairly common, 70 popping up more and more, does anything feel out of balance to you, or what's your perspective on the offense-defense balance right now in the league?
Like you said, talent is at an all-time high at every position, and shooting ability, scoring ability, different combinations that coaches are putting out there, like 5-man units where everybody's a threat to shoot the ball. So the game has changed dramatically. I think there was that week or 2 week span where there's a 70, a couple 60s, and 50, I don't know what it was. It was astronomical scoring. That slowed down a little bit, but there's like a couple rules, I think, that from a defensive perspective, I know Coach has talked about a little bit, where you could favor the defense a little bit more. I know the conversations, there's what's the group called that makes the rules? Competition committee, thank you, that make those decisions every summer and try to adjust to how the game is going. Those are always, those conversations are always happening. I like the brand of basketball, because it is everybody who's out there can put the ball on the floor for the most part, can, like I said, be a threat to shoot, and you're gonna see a sway towards higher scoring. But I think the cycle of the league, it always kind of, it'll reset itself at some point. And I don't know how quickly that'll happen or what rules will change, this summer, the following summer. But I personally like the brand of basketball that's being played because it highlights the amount of talent that we have around the league.
Second row center.
Hi, Steph. One of the coolest things about this Sabrina Ionescu, Stephen Curry thing is that you get to bond with the younger generation that once admired you because they saw you and stuff like that. And I'm from NBA Brazil, and you've been playing with a Brazilian who admire you and now is your colleague. How has it been with Gui Santos, and what you learned about Brazil with him?
Guy's an unbelievable, person. He's shown in some short stints out there on the court with us what he's capable of, and he's got a bright future ahead of him. And I know he's proud to represent his country. I've been to Brazil once, and it was way back when I was in high school. So I told him when I come back, I'm gonna call him, call Verjao, call Barbosa, all the guys that I've played with, and hopefully they treat me to a good time. So, they're definitely proud to obviously represent their country. Guy's, the next in line to do that. And it's been cool to watch him grow in the short time he's been with us.